With this powerful Neville Goddard technique, you will be able to manifest a couple of desires at once while also maintaining a heightened state of awareness anytime you find your mind being attached to a desire that you think is walking on the outside. But with this technique, you can actually surrender to that desire on the inside so that you can let it flow in your mind, let it play in your mind, and let it overwhelm your consciousness with its reality. That being the case, my friend, let's directly begin with the video where I'll explain how the isn't it wonderful, how this technique actually works, and how you can use it to again manifest a couple of desires at once. First of all, I want us to contemplate on a couple of notes that I have written from one of Neville Goddard's books at your command if you want to check it out. So, because when we understand, like when we dive deep into these quotes, into these understandings, we will actually be able to see how this technique works so that we can then use it to surrender in our desires and let them overwhelm our consciousness. So let me read you a couple of lines. Your desires contain within them the plan of their self-expression. So leave all judgment out of the picture and rise in consciousness to the level of your desire and make yourself one with it by claiming it to be so now. Meaning that whenever a desire comes up, like the feeling of desire, the feeling of wanting, the feeling of craving, the feeling of this urge of I want to do something, I want to have something. This feeling, it is coming as an invitation for you to surrender into it and let it overwhelm your consciousness with the reality of that desire. Because remember, feeling is the secret. So if you're able to surrender to that desire as if it were real right now, this means that you can embody the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled. And now what Neville states, your desire contain within them the plan of their self-expression. So when you surrender to the feeling of your desire through this technique, again, that I will explain in a moment, it's the isn't it wonderful technique, but we need to understand how it works. When we surrender to the reality of our desire on the inside, the plan of its expression, of that desire's expression, is already contained. It is contained within the feeling. So this means that anytime a desire comes up, an urge, a craving, a wanting, it is asking you, it is an invitation from your higher mind, asking you, here is this desire in your field, there is a potential for you. And now I want you to, instead of doubting, I want you to surrender to it and assume as if it's real. And how does that happen practically? Well, this is where this technique comes up. Isn't it wonderful? But again, to say that, isn't it wonderful? And use this as a key, as a tool with which we can surrender to the feeling of that desire and experience it on the outside, letting it overwhelm our consciousness, in which we can actually start feeling joy. We can start feeling happiness, gratitude about this desire being manifested already within our inner world. We need to, again, remember that the plan to the desire's expression is contained within it. Like your desire contained within them the plan of their self-expression. And so we need to have faith. Now, faith, it's something that you build. Obviously, this is not something that you just that you have and you can just decide to decide to embody it. You can, but with time, you need to build up your faith level. So you need to be able to recognize all the coincidences that come up when you surrender to your desires. Because here's again what Neville states, have faith in the unseen claim until conviction is born within you that it is so. So when you consistently surrender to your desire, the moment it comes up, the moment it arises within your consciousness, you just say to yourself inwardly, isn't it wonderful that I have the opportunity now to surrender to that desire and experience it in my inside world? And then, isn't it wonderful? Now, this phrase, isn't it wonderful? It becomes an anchor for you to allow yourself to experience the gratitude of having that desire, because it is a sign that what comes up as a desire is in your field and it has the potential of expressing, of realizing. So this desire comes up to give you an opportunity of how, when it is already realized, how that might look like. But you wouldn't be able to see the way in which it realizes. You wouldn't be able to predict the strategy. You wouldn't be able to like connect the dots looking forward. You'll be able to connect them looking backwards when you surrender to the feeling, and then look back at the synchronistic events that have like unfolded one after the other. Because faith, my friend, faith is the substance of the things hoped for and the evidence of things not yet seen. Now, again, this is something that Neville states. If faith is the substance of the things hoped for, this means that when our desires comes up, and it's like we hope for it, we want it, we crave it. So faith is the substance of what we hope for. Faith is already contained within that desire if we surrender to it. And they are also the evidence of the things not yet seen. Not they, but the faith. Faith is also the evidence of the things not yet seen. Meaning that, again, when this desire comes up and you say to yourself inwardly, isn't it wonderful? You can connect with the faith, which will bring about the evidence of that desire, which will manifest step by step. It will unfold on its own when you surrender to that desire. And now this is where this magical phrase comes in. Isn't it wonderful that I have this desire? Because here is what Neville states next. Look upon your desires, all of them, as the spoken words of God, and every word or desire a promise. Meaning that if you see your desires as something which is not necessarily personal, if you see them as your God-given gifts, and then you have gratitude for having those desires when they come up, you can surrender to their reality on the inside, which again, this starts when you start contemplating. A moment a desire comes up, you start asking yourself, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it beautiful that I have this desire? Isn't it amazing how many desires I have at once? Isn't it magnificent how many things life has predicted for me? How many things are on my path already? Isn't it beautiful? And then you let that phrase get into the core of that desire and release that energy from within it, which then overwhelms your consciousness with the realization of that desire. So isn't it wonderful? This is the key phrase. It is the anchor. And you need to repeat it consistently in your mind anytime a desire comes up, because this is how you surrender to it. Here is what he states next. Do not condition your desire. Just accept it as it is, as it comes to you. Give thanks for it to the point that you're feeling grateful for having already received it. Then go about your way in peace. This is an instruction. What Neville states here is an instruction. Do not condition your desire. Do not condition your desire with the strategy that you think you need to do to manifest it. No, do not condition it, because faith is the substance of the things hoped for and the evidence of the things not yet seen. Do not condition your desire. Just accept it as it comes to you. Give thanks for it to the point that you're feeling grateful for having already received it. Then go about your way in peace. Such acceptance of your desires is like dropping seed, fertile seed, into prepared soil. For when you can drop the thing desired in consciousness, confident that it shall appear, you have done all that is expected of you. So again, like the fertile field, this is your consciousness in which your desire comes up. This is the field, like your energy field in which this desire shows you what your potential is. And so you're grateful because you're just recognizing, you're awakening to your potential. And then when you can drop the thing desired in consciousness, you just drop it in consciousness so that it starts to unfold, like a visual image of what that desire could, like how it could look if it were manifested. could unfold. You drop it in consciousness so that this vision can come to you. Confident that it shall appear, and you have done all that is expected of you. So again, when a desire comes up, here is the technique. And that's why you can use that technique for manifesting many things at once, because it doesn't matter if your desire is related to your specific person. Is it something about business? Is it something about work? Is it something about some specific circumstance that you want to experience? Whatever it is, it's important how the energy of desire works. Whenever this desire comes, it's an invitation for you to let it go, to surrender into it, to drop it in your consciousness, and your consciousness being the fertile ground in which it is nurtured into realization, into creation. So your consciousness is where you drop that desire to see what your imagination will come up with if you accept it that it is already the case. If you have the faith and have the sufficient faith until that conviction within you is born, that will manifest the desire for you. So, because again, your desire contain within them the plan to their self-expression. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't try this at first. So I challenge you, my friend. What I'm asking of you, how you practice that technique, anytime for the next couple of days, like decide for, let's say, to practice this for 3 days, 1 week, 3 weeks, something like that. However, whatever extent of time feels comfortable. But anytime a desire comes up, you say to yourself inwardly and confidently, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful that I am given this vision of what is in my field and what is coming in my reality? Isn't it wonderful that my desires are the spoken word of God? And you can take some of these contemplations that we were contemplating on in this video to support yourself. When a desire comes up, to support your contemplation so that you can have this faith and this conviction that you will only have when you surrender to that desire, when you decide to be grateful the moment it comes up in you. Because it is coming up to show you what is your potential, and this is already a reason for gratitude. So isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful, my friend? This is what the technique is all about. And so I challenge you, give this a try for at least like 3 days. Every time a desire comes up in your consciousness, to repeat that. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful that I am given this vision? Isn't it beautiful that I have this desire, which is the spoken word of God? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it wonderful how I'm shown my potential through this desire that is coming up? Isn't it wonderful that I can feel it within myself now, already being realized? Isn't it wonderful that I have so many things that are coming in my life? So this is how you practice that technique. Give it a try. Next time a desire comes up, try contemplating on that question and see what happens. See if you can drop that desire in consciousness and get connected to that feeling of it, playing with that feeling of your desire in your imagination, to manifest it, to realize it in your mind, in your imagination, to see how your imaginary mind will come up with a scene in which this desire was already the case. Because this is the mystery, like you don't know. And that's why when you drop it in consciousness, it's curious what your mind will come up with, how it could realize. And this is beautiful. So let this vision unfold by asking yourself the question, isn't it wonderful? That being the case, my friend, I want to thank you so much for watching. If this video has been helpful, if it has inspired you, if it had given you more confidence in your desires, like it, comment down below. Let me know if you've been practicing this technique. Isn't it wonderful? It's such a powerful technique. And now at the end of this video, I also want to suggest you one other Neville Goddard video I have, in which I share what is the cheat sheet to make the wall of assumption work. And it's basically a video in which I expand on this idea. Look upon your desires, all of them, as the spoken words of God, and every word or desire a promise. In this video, I expand on this idea, so you can find it here in the end, in the card section. And now, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you are new to it. In this channel, we'll be talking everything about soulful relationship, about law of assumption, about manifestation, about letting go, about Neville Goddard, And generally, the intention of the channel is to help you surround yourself only by conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationship. So if you share that vision with me, subscribe to the channel, and I would love to see you around. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye for now. And remember, my friend, isn't it wonderful?